Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Deals Friday. In today's episode, we're going to be going over a property that has a bit of a twist, and we're going to be going over why we didn't actually offer on it. This is episode number 13. My name's Nick Clark from Jenic Property, helping you profit through UK property. Let's look into this week's property. So this property is a 3-bedroom end terrace property in the northeast of England, and this would be ideal in theory for actually a long-term rental on this property. When we're initially looking at this property, and we were actually looking for one of our actual clients, they were actually looking for long-term rentals and add to their portfolio. Now on paper it looks really good from the figures point of view, but when we actually went to view the property, there was a couple of concerns that raised on it. Now the refurb estimate when we actually viewed this property, we came in at around about £15,100. It needed a lot doing on the actual refurb. So let's dive into that refurb and what actually entails and why we didn't actually offer on this property. So the refurb on this property needed a new front door and back door. Obviously, adding a new front door and back door can increase the EPC on it. It had the old wooden doors and also some damage to the rear door as well. Now, this property needed full damp on the ground floor. Now, this is not a major thing to worry about. Some people, this scares a lot of people off. And the reason why it scares people off is because getting the right people to be able to actually treat that damp accordingly for it to not come back is really important. Treating damp is an important thing to be able to do, and get somebody professional who's qualified and also offers a guarantee, in some cases a lifetime guarantee, that it's not going to come back. That's exactly what you want in. So damp is not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a matter of making sure that it's treated correctly. Now this property needed a full rewire as well. The wiring was completely out of date and it needed absolutely gutting, put new wiring in with a new consumer unit and an electrical certificate. Now also this needed a new boiler as well, a new heating system, hence the reason why obviously the refurb is a lot higher. So all the gas central heating was all outdated, not really working properly, so it was just best to get new radiators in and a full new heating system with a new boiler. That means that the actual client would have either 2-year or 10-year warranty depending on what boiler they actually wanted to go with, and also the peace of mind that that heating in there is going to be solid for the time that they actually have it. Now also what we had to do is the bathroom suite was actually really good in this property. The only thing that we needed to do was update the tiling. As you can see, the tiling was still in good condition. However, it just looks dated, doesn't really look good to appeal to most people. So what we do is put a more subtle tiling in there that will appeal to the majority of the public out there, something a bit more modern and something that's not going to date over time. That way we're able to future-proof that property to be able to get it up to spec. Now what we did need to do is obviously completely remove the kitchen and put a new kitchen in, very tired and very dated. The kitchen was needed completely taken out and put a new kitchen in, as well as making sure that obviously we've got full decoration throughout the property. Now this property did actually need new gutters at the rear and also had some minor roof work on top of the actual roof, as well as making sure that we replaced the patio door in there, as there's actually some water penetration coming in from when it was raining, and obviously there had the roof work there as well. There was water coming in from the actual patio. Now yes, this property you'd be able to rent it out for £425 per calendar month, and actually we actually owned a property that we recently sold, I think it was about 2 years ago, on this street, and it was one of the first properties we actually bought in our property portfolio. So we know it's a great rental property street, rents out very well, and you can get £425 for this property per calendar month at minimum. Now bear in mind that your properties are only going to be worth around about £45,000 in this actual area. We had a couple of concerns when we actually viewed the property for refurbishment. The first thing is in one of the corners of the actual property in the front, it actually had some minor cracks in the paintwork. But what we actually found is, taking a closer look into this, is that the actual previous owner had covered up a crack, and when we actually done some further digging by just probing the actual wallpaper, etc., we could actually put our fingers in the actual crack. So that obviously raised concern because they were hiding that. What else were they actually hiding behind the actual surface? So what we had to do is we actually had to get our builders in to be able to look at this a bit further and make sure that were we actually overthinking it, or was it actually something we had to be concerned about? The other thing that gave us an indication when we went to the actual rear of the property, to the rear of the property, and we looked where the crack was, as well as the in the front of the property, we noticed a bit of on the side of the property, a bit of bowing in the actual wall. This obviously can mean that the wall's starting to pull away from the actual joint of the wall. And sometimes what you need to do is you can put, if it's not too bad, you can actually put wall ties in the corner of the wall. However, in this case, what we realized is that the actual property was actually starting to subside in the corner of the house. That was after further investigation from a builder and obviously getting a structural engineer out to look at the property. So what we did is we didn't actually offer on the property. The reason why we didn't is because for what we needed to buy the property for, the vendor wasn't willing to let it go. So they had to look at putting it into auction and somebody buy it, unfortunately, and not know what they're doing. But because we're able to actually indicate exactly this problem, this didn't become an issue for our actual clients. So it's important for us to identify, making sure we avoid properties like that are going to cause further problems. Now, in some cases, what happens is if there is an issue like that and there's enough value in the property to be able to actually increase the value and add value to there. So let's say it was, say, £100,000 property, for instance, and we're able to get it to maybe £50,000, which is a massive discount, mind. But if there is a issue where there is subsidence, etc., it can be very, very costly, especially if you're needing to actually if you need to drill down to obviously support the property, you could sometimes be looking around about £1,000 per hole, or even more, depending on who it is. So in this time, it's a lot easier just to walk away with the property and realize that actually there's a lot more actual properties out there that are more available and suitable for our clients. Now, in this case, what we did is that if we did go for the rentals, as I said, you get about £425 per calendar month. Which is good. It will stack up all day long, especially if the property was, say, £45,000 worth. You get a massive yield on that property. But in this case, it wasn't worth the risk actually doing it, so we just kind of pulled out of it and just made sure that our clients didn't actually ever see the property from there. That's important for us that we stick by that. Now listen, if you guys actually want to hear more properties like this, and you actually want to find out a little bit more about the things you need to look at with properties, then definitely give us a shout and comment down below, because we'd like to actually hear from you. That way we can actually give you guys a little bit more insight of what we're actually looking into the properties and why we actually go for the properties that we do. Thanks for watching. My name's Nick Clark from Jenic Property, and if you actually want to get in contact with us and start profiting from UK property with minimal time effort, then certainly just reach out to myself at info@jenicproperty.com. That's info@jenicproperty.com. Otherwise, reach out to myself at propertywithnicclark on either Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Otherwise, head to our website at jenicproperty.com and you'll be able to book in a call with one of our team to see how we can help you and identify what your strategy is based on what your goals are short-term and long-term. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys on next week's Deals Friday. This is episode number 13, and I'll see you next week.